looks like a rat's nest right now, but you know, what are you gonna do?
It's the life of a rock star. Look who I got tonight.
Exactly.
Today has been a whirlwind of a day, but I'm ending tonight my 4th interview in a row with one Johnny Pill. Oh, Johnny Pill. I am so fucked up right now. This is stirring the pot with my very special guest, Johnny Chill. What's up, man?
There we go. What's up, Doc and Kincaid? Thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro. Great intro, 10 out of 10.
I'm sorry I called you Johnny Pill. That must mean we're going to have a hellified ride on this one.
Whoa. Wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. Man.
Well, you are coming in a little choppy here and there or whatever. I don't know how antsy you are or if you're on a bunch of different things we shouldn't know about. But they do call you Johnny Chill. And what I like to do is pull the curtain back and let the fans get to know Johnny Chill. That because we don't know who Johnny Chill is. We don't even know if that's your real name. Is that your? And we're back. I don't know what the hell happened. I think Buff Dad. See, previously Buff Dad, and his connection was so effed up. I think it might have relayed into one of our systems because Buff Dad's got a far reach.
So we've been infected from the internet.
It could have. There's a glitch in the matrix, but we're back, my man. So Johnny Chill, is Johnny Chill your real name? If you would indulge to the fans, please.
Well, my real name's not Johnny Chill. If you have me on Facebook, you know. My real last name is Zuko, pronounced the same way. But the character Johnny Chill is it's something that I kind of came up with towards the end of my backyard wrestling days. I was transitioning from a dark character, and I decided to do something completely different. So I just went to do like a complete party guy character. Like a big inspiration for it was Adam Rose and the Rockers. Those were the two main things that I was like really bringing in to make this new character. Totally changed it up, and I just stuck with Johnny Chill as the name because, you know, chill vibes.
Yeah, Johnny Chill, for you fans that don't know, are you from the New Jersey area? Am I mistaken on that?
I am. I started wrestling in 2015 in New Jersey. I'm based in New Jersey, New York area, but I travel a lot of the East Coast with Big Cal and Dirtbag Dan. It's about all I've been so far, but.
Well, I'll tell you, man, when I first seen Johnny Chill come into our area, you were introduced as Cousin Johnny Chill, part of the Filthy family that was becoming what I thought was going to be a faction that was probably going to last, I don't know, as long as Dirtbag Dan's career would allow him with all the crazy fucking shit that he does. I really thought that the Filthy Family vibe was going to hang on for a very long time, but shit happened. Shit went down. I need to know, and please explain to the fans because there might not be a lot of fans, and especially in my area, that know anything about Johnny Chill. Take us on a ride of this whole Filthy Family ride that you went on with Dirtbag Dan and Big Cal Stevens. And if you could really be truthful, are you really the cousin of either or both, please?
Well, all right. About 2.5 years ago, I met Dirtbag Dan at the ECPW training school. He was one of the original Juice. Like, in this promotion, there was a juniors division, which was all the trainee wrestlers between 14 and 17 years old. I started training on my 14th birthday. I was in the junior division until I was 17. And Dirtbag Dan was one of the original juniors from 2003, I believe, is the year that he started training. I might be wrong, not 100% sure. Meeting him was really cool. We got talking and got, to know each other across multiple shows, sharing the locker room. Eventually, he started teaming with Cal, and I talked to Cal a lot when he was first starting in the business, like when he was first training and stuff. I was there his first Battle Royal day he debuted, and helped him train a lot in the beginning. They were doing the tag stuff a lot on the indies, and I was just kind of getting to the point where it was, time to started getting bookings on the road, like trying to get out there more. And Dirtbag really helped me out a lot with that. He had me message Slick Wagner Brown for Test of Strength, and I went out there with them for training day 21, and I faced Dan the Man. I don't know if you remember that event or not, but my nerves definitely got the best of me.
He's Dan the Man.
That was the first time I ever was on the road with them, actually, and it was pretty cool. Great experience, but like I mentioned before, I really shit the bed in that match against Dan. But I'm glad I continued traveling with them for the last, it's been about a year now that I've been on the road with them, so it's pretty cool. Looking forward to more, but sorry, kind of rambled and lost train of thought.
That's okay.
So the Filthy Family, us three, Dirtbag Dan, Big Cal Stevens, Johnny Chill, we were stable for a little bit in Battlefront, which was a promotion in Massachusetts, as you know, obviously. I don't know if fans you might not be familiar. It's an extreme wrestling promotion. We came in last May, I think, or last February, and we stayed stable until not very long. I think, when was it, October, that me and Cal split as a team and detached from Dan. That's all right. So we had a decent run with the tag across all of this, so it wasn't a total loss, but I still feel like there could have been a lot more that we could have done. But things change in wrestling all the time.
They do very quickly, and you just have to roll with the punches when it comes to wrestling, because, as they say, card is subject to change, and that's from every aspect of wrestling, no matter what it is. So, is it hard to persevere when, like you're saying, you're hitting the road, things are looking good for the Filthy Family, shit changes, but now the Filthy Family's kind of disappeared a little bit, even though the fans, you guys left such a mark with the whole thing. We wear our shirts still. We talk about the Filthy Family like the Filthy Family's still around, but like it's hard to persevere once you go through something like that. But I want to know, the storyline comes to head where one Johnny Chill loses the Hardcore Championship for Dirtbag Dan. That
is
did
right.
not make Dirtbag Dan happy at all, as anyone that knows Dirtbag Dan had a very bad attitude towards Johnny Chill. How does something all of that, because the story to tell in that ring in front of, and I'm telling you, Battlefront, it's a sold out show every time. That place is jammed, slammed, filled with people.
Always a hot crowd too. Yeah.
Um, how does all of that come from behind the curtain up to the ring? Is it a mixture of you, Dirtbag, Big Cal, just anybody's guidance? Is it part of the higher brass in Battlefront, or is it a package? How does that come about?
Well, it's kind of a fair mix of all three. There's the different aspects that contributed to every little detail that happened leading up to the Filthy family breaking up. Not to get too into details or anything, but it felt like the right decision to have everyone go separate ways for the time being. It's not to say maybe down the line the Filthy family might not reunite. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that would be amazing for us, the fans. That would be amazing. Um, Now I know I'm talking a lot about the Filthy Family because that's where I've seen you mostly, and I know you're a singles wrestler, but I just want to stay in the Fingal Family for a little bit. Fingal Family. Oh my God, that's how fuck. I'm telling you, Johnny, it's been a long. Holy shit,
Oh
Dirtbag's
man.
gonna fucking kill me. He's gonna give me the chemical warfare. Oh my God. The Filthy Family. You guys, like you said, you were on the road, and you guys are way. You're like maybe 3+ hours from our area. Going on the road with Dirtbag Dan and Big Cow Stevens, that
Oh man.
has to be filled with a ton of fun, and
Uh,
a ton of unexpected wackiness that's going on, and a lot of knowledge being passed on to Johnny Chill. Just give us a little bit of taste of what it's like to be on the road, because me specifically, I mean, and I want to know how it is like to be on the road with Dirtbag Dan and Big House.
all right. Okay. So, man, so many stories. Yeah, being on the road with Dan and Cal, it's so fun. I really can't even describe how much like of an experience it is being able to travel with guys that you consider friends in the business. But man, over the past year, over so many car rides back and forth and so many hotels, there's some crazy stories that we could tell. One that I'm allowed to share and talk about, I think, is actually the last time we were in Connecticut. I think for Battlefront, it was the Jewett City show.
Yeah.
The night me and Cal wrestled each other. Anyway, after that show, as you know, the main event was Dirtbag Dan versus Rebecca Payne. In there was they went back to the hotel without really washing up backstage, without washing the blood off their face. They just wanted to check into the hotel blood all over. Harmless prank, right? Well, apparently the hotel manager didn't think it was so harmless because he called the cops. Cops show up at our hotel room. They're investigating. You know, in the cops' eyes, they think that this is a domestic violence, situation. That was not the case. They were wrestling. They had a wrestling match. So the cops get there and they immediately separate Dan and Rebecca. Rebecca Payne is in the bathroom showering, actually cleaning up now, and they take Dirtbag Dan outside, and they're talking to him alone. So it's in the hotel room now. Me, Corey Dillinger, and Big Cal Stevens. We're on the beds, and the cops are questioning us about what happened, and we don't know what to tell the cops because we can't really explain that it's a wrestling event because they're not going to understand that, why is she bleeding? You know what I mean? So it comes out later that one of the cops actually knew Ref Bill, and they went to high school together, and they were longtime friends. That was a pretty crazy experience. And once we figured that out, and once we realized that there was nothing, there was no domestic dispute, they ended up leaving, and they were actually really cool. pretty scary though that the cops coming poking around the hotel, right?
That is, that's just a piece of a multitude of memories that have been built up from being on the road with Dirtbag
Man,
Dan.
there's so many more.
Yeah, oh yeah. Thank you first for sharing such a crazy ass story from on the road. The fans now check this shit out. Now that specific show, it was again like Johnny said, your connection was a little wonky, so I'm just gonna reiterate what was said. The main
Sure,
event
man.
was Dirtbag Dan versus Rebecca Payne in a hardcore match at Battlefront, and this was to be the number one contender for Ryan Frost's title, who is the current hardcore champion. Now, with all of that being said, the way the storyline panned out, Ryan Frost was the referee of said match. This fucking match, not only did it go everywhere in the building, we, and I mean not we like the ref, the two combatants, and just two or three fans, we as the entire building all were outside in the middle of the street. The cars are stopped on both sides from other people helping out. In the middle of the road is Dirtbag Dan and Rebecca Payne, and there's ref Frost, if you will, given the count, the kick out, and all of this stuff. Man, that match is embedded in my brain for the end of time.
That night was just so chaotic from the moment that we got to Connecticut. It was the ring rental guy. I don't remember his name. I wish I could. Really cool guy. I wish I could give him a shout out right now, but that was a fun ring setup because no one was understanding what the concepts were, and it was just such a clusterfuck. The entire, but yeah, I remember that night too. It was not only the fans; it was the entire locker room that was also watching this match. Everyone in the building left the building to see this match continue. It was a unbelievable.
Now, seeing stuff like that, because Dirtbag Dan's a vet on the scene, as you said, you know, you're dating back to almost 2003 aroundish. Now Dirtbag, yeah. He's a vet. He's got a lot of skill in that ring, but he has a lot of skill up in here when it comes to that presentation in the ring.
Right.
It's got to be really cool to kind of be under the tutelage of a guy like Dan, because I mean, even though he's wacky, he's crazy. He doesn't use soap ever. That's got to suck. But he's a smart guy when it comes to wrestling. You know, he's got almost got like that locker room leadership skill to him. If I could say, that's got to be pretty cool.
Right.
Do you find yourself learning more from Dirtbag and guys like, you know, and Cal and stuff in that time, or was there more tutelage pre being Filthy Family and getting up to that point?
Well, that it's both. I learned from a lot of wrestlers training. Like when I was first starting, I was lucky enough to work with guys like John Tell, Tony Rush, Branch's ring name, but like guys like that. When I was coming up with them, I was lucky enough to train with them, and I was at a young age. I was 14 working with these guys. They're bypassing me clearly because they're getting on the TV tapings and stuff. So, but in the past year, with traveling with Dirtbag and Cal, I think I learned the most in my career because, like you said, Dirtbag Dan has a great mind for the business. He knows his shit. He knows how to make his character like have such a connection with the crowd, and it doesn't matter what crowd.
No, it does
He
not.
always gets a reaction with it, and you can't deny that. So I think that picking things up from Dan has helped me a lot. I'm not going to say that I could do the same thing now by any means, because I can't. I don't have that power. I don't have like that, that connection, yet. But I feel like I'm getting there more. So just I'm getting more of that presence down, traveling with Dan, learning from him, and training with him when I can. And same goes with Cal. Long car rides, talking, throwing ideas back and forth at each other. We give each other a lot of ideas to come up with. So
that's some good stuff, man. Because without, and I talk on these interviews about the package that it takes to make wrestling happen from behind the curtain, in front of the crowd, period. When you're live in front of that crowd, there's no taking it back. So there's a lot that it takes to bring all of that performance in front of the crowd. You're really, really young right now in your career. You're really young in age. You have a character named Johnny Chill. Could you take us a little ride on where Johnny Chill came from, what he's about, and where the hell is Johnny Chill going? Because there's no Filthy Family. And I know, again, you're a singles wrestler. So let's take on a journey of your character of Johnny Chill. What's going on?
Well, right now, right now I'm not really doing anything. But before wrestling stopped, before the world shut down, my character was kind of in a weird spot, because for the 4 or 5 main promotions that I work for, it's a different kind of character that I'm working in. Battlefront right now, I'm Dan the Man and the Governors. It's a different kind of heel that I'm working. Now in ACW, I'm a face, and I'm a super underdog babyface there, which is a totally different character than I'm working in Massachusetts. So with each territory, I'm a little bit different, but going back to the question, sorry, could you repeat the last part of it? You wanted, I got off topic.
That's all right. What we're trying to do is give the fans a little insight of how Johnny Chill, the character, became, and where's
Right.
it going. Characters have to evolve at some point in your career. Right. Where do you see Johnny Chill, the character? Is it going to stick around for a long time? Are you going to evolve into something else? Do you have something already set, or are you just kind of rolling with the punches with the character right now?
Well, that I realized that I was going to touch back to the whole Johnny Chill thing and where I was going with it, but so with the each different promotion having a little bit of a different version of Johnny Chill, I'm kind of like testing the waters with different like elements of each gimmick, seeing what gets more over, what gets more of a reaction, and if I could see, some things working, I could start cutting things out. I could putting in new things. I could leaning in the direction of a new character, but maybe not totally change it. But for the time being, I think I'm doing a pretty good job getting the rocker character over, like the 80s throwback, classic rocker kind of thing going. I think I'm doing a decent job at that, but I think I could do better, and I hope I can when once shows starting up again. But as far as changing up the character, I don't think so. I think I'm going to try to ride it out as long as I can. Stop caring about it, then I guess it's time to change it up.
You have to invest into it before you can give up on it, because you'll never know where that character could lead you, So, I mean, that perseverance in wrestling is got to be the hardest thing besides sacrifice with your family time and such like that. At your young age, how are you finding the time to do the travels that you're doing? Because there's some long ass drives, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I try to never complain about traveling with wrestling because, like, how could I complain about being able to do the thing that I've wanted to do forever? But it gets hard being on the roads so much. You miss a lot. You miss a lot of, stupid things that, a lot of people would normally take for granted, like just hanging out with friends even, like you miss that when you're on the road. You replace that with the crowd, and you gotta commit to it if you're gonna do it. If you're gonna do it, give it your all, give it 110%. But I wouldn't trade it. I love being on. I also like at least after a heavy schedule, I'll take like 2 weekends, and I'll just say I'm not gonna do anything wrestling related. I'm just gonna, because the number one thing is to be happy. I don't want to turn wrestling into something that I don't want to do it to the point where I don't like it anymore. That's the last thing I want to do. So I think it's good to kind of know when to take a little break.
Yeah, because you get to a point, especially when you're hitting the road and taking those long drives, weekend after weekend, those start taking a toll, not obviously on your body physically, but your mindset. It starts to get a little wonky, and sometimes you just need a little refresher, you know?
Exactly. Sometimes you just need, like, even if it is just one free weekend,
Mhm.
that is enough to just clear your mind completely of all the stuff that's fogging it up, like the little nagging injury that you might have that you're working through. Just let it rest for that weekend, and you'll be fine for the next one.
Right.
A lot of guys, they continue grinding it, and they continue working wall hurt, and they get more hurt, and that's not very smart in my eyes, but to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, every person is different, and that's, I mean, the the eclectic characters that wrestling brings to the table is just such a world of its own, and
Right.
not everybody gets wrestling. It's very evident because when you find somebody that you've never met or a friend that you didn't know that likes wrestling, you kind of latch on to said person because now you're like,
Right.
holy shit, I found a wrestling fan, like and you try to make that connection with
It's a
wrestling.
rare thing.
Yeah. Um,
I A lot of my childhood friends were like that, man. Like, I would bond with them over wrestling. A lot of my childhood friends used to want to get into wrestling with me, and it's cool now being able to, to look back on those days and see that, I'm actually living the wild childhood fan that me and my friends played out. It's,
yeah.
it's
Well, being able to connect with Johnny Chill over the course of this whole run of the Filthy Family, and now Johnny Chill seems to be on a possibly a solid singles run. We'll see where that goes in the future in our area. But I want to talk about your area because I've seen plenty of footage. I'm a subscriber to the old Johnny Chill YouTube channel. Get yourself over there.
Thank you,
I've
sir.
seen
Thank you for the plug.
matches, man. And if I'm not mistaken, I'll say ECPW is your home base. If I'm not correct, please correct me.
That is correct. I started training at the ECPW Training Center in Lake Hiawatha, New Jersey, on my 14th birthday, and that's been my home promotion ever since. East Coast Pro Wrestling is it's a great place to learn. I want to stay connected to the school. A lot of wrestlers might go other places and just to completely leave the area and just try to get as big as possible. And more power to them if they could do it. But in my eyes, I'm never gonna forget. ECPW. It's a smaller promotion, but it's home. Always give it 100% when I'm there. I'm always gonna give it 100% when I'm anywhere.
Yeah. You do.
That's what you're supposed to do. But I am.
No, you absolutely do. Every time you get in the ring, there was one time, and I'm going to bring this up because this memory on Facebook, once a year, they give you that recycled memory thing, and you see some shit you want to see, and you see some shit you just don't want to see sometimes. But there's a memory, and it just doesn't come up on every year because I like sharing this mother effing clip every so often because, man, it was my demise, but son of a bitch, if I don't fucking crack up at it looking back. Now, Johnny, if you notice, is going off a little bit. Now, one Dirtbag Dan was coming out, and Johnny Cho was sitting right next to me, and he knew exactly what was coming. Did he tell a brother?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't know. I didn't
know. Oh, the fuck you didn't know. So, anywho, he's in the ring doing his thing. He comes flying out. It looks like a suicide dive, but it turns into like a spinning wheel kick mid-air. I don't know what the fuck happened. Gravity took over Dirtbag Dan's body and shit just went crazy. And here comes Dirtbag Dan, goes at his opponents, and if I'm not mistaken, there was a Dan Gore and in front of me, and it was split like a C. Who was in Dirtbag's way? His entire body and the mind of that spinning heel kick in the middle in midair, my fucking forehead. Okay, my fucking forehead. That's what. Now, my camera and the crowd we're like fight forever, fight forever, and my phone just fucking wham, and you just oh shit. And then I pick up my phone. It's all. I pick up my phone and I look at myself, and I got a fucking dirtbag bruise on my fucking my forehead. And I look to my left. Do you see Johnny Cho right now? That's the way that son's a bitch was looking. And all of that went down. I looked over and Johnny Cho was fucking funny. Oh my God! Memory Johnny Cho will always be with me forever and ever. And I don't care if you knew it. I don't care if you didn't know it was coming. But thank you for that memory, no matter what, my friend.
That's one of my favorite memories ever from wrestling. Like, I wasn't even wrestling that night. That's like, to put that into perspective for the people watching, I didn't have a match that night. And it's one of my favorite memories ever because I was sitting next to Don Kincaid the entire show, and we're just bullshitting. And for this match, it's the main event, keep in mind, and it's halfway through the match. At this moment, we decide to switch seats for some reason.
Oh my God, now, that's right.
If I hadn't switched seats with Don Kincaid when I did, I would have been kicked in the head.
Yeah.
But and that's what makes this story, every time I see the video, I laugh. And every time I hear about the video, as you guys just saw, I couldn't stop laughing. But
oh man.
I love that video so much. It's gonna be on every night ever.
That's the shit that indie wrestling specifically gives both us, the fans, and the wrestlers all involved at the same time. And again, like Johnny Cho was just saying, he was a fan that night. He wasn't even working. He was hanging out in the seats. as a fan, and I would throw the camera at him every so often, and give him a little, little Kincaid stupidness or whatever. But yeah, Johnny Chill that night specifically was a fan, and that's the kind of shit that you can never have if you're not there, you know?
Nah, you'll never see that. Like if a lot of people, if they only go to if they never try out an indie show and they only go to WWE house shows, there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. It's wrestling. Wrestling is great, but they're not gonna get the same experience that they will. It's like at an indie, it's a lot more one with the crowd. I like being able to work off of the crowd rather than
Yeah, man. That the interaction with the intimacy at these shows are really, really cool, man. I mean, that's the vibe I dig. I mean, and I know Beyond is a different animal, and they're like mushed up against the ring and stuff on usually like 2 or 3 sides of the ring, which is a cool vibe too. But I mean, I just dig being able to kind of do the chair thing, hang out, being able to cheer, boo, being interactive with you guys and girls, and it's always a fucking blast, man. So as a fan, first and foremost, I want to thank you and everybody else that does this and puts their bodies on the line for us, man.
I mean, I don't like saying I don't like being told like thank you and stuff like that. Thank you guys for giving us a reason to do it. Like you guys, if it wasn't for the crowd, we're just a bunch of dudes fighting in a ring. For what? The crowd that we do it, and we have you were saying that you guys have such a fun time watching us do it. We have such a fun time getting to do it for you, and thank you to everyone watching.
I try to feel the wrestlers out a little bit about crowd noise. You said that you feed off of the crowd. Is that something that came naturally with you? Because not all wrestlers hear the crowd when they're first upcoming and even beyond. Did you always hear the crowd? And when the crowd does all of that reaction, and I know we've been speaking of the fans a lot and the interaction, do you feed off of that and just use that and be like, you know what, fuck yeah, man, they're feeling what I'm doing and I'm just running with that energy?
Right. And that's the mindset that I have for it now. Like now I feed off of the fans. Like any noise that they make is, that's gonna dictate what I do in the ring. If they're flat during the heat, then I need to get them behind me, and if I don't get them behind me, I'm probably not going to do much in my comeback. I'm probably just going to have the heel take it home. But if they're into it, if they're behind me, if I can get them invested, then I'll, build up, get the crowd really behind me. But for so long, people told like to tune out the crowd, like if they're doing anything in public, right? Like public, it takes unlearn that for wrestling. So like when I was first like junior in the junior division, and once you unlearn that, once you could kind of listen, that's when you kind of build more, like to feed off of the energy of the crowd is like, I can't really find the words to describe what I'm trying to,
well, it's just,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it has to be an undescribable feeling in all honesty, because I like to compare music and wrestling very much so. And when I'm on that live stage, you can talk about being up on a live stage, but you can't take that feeling and throw it at somebody and being like, you know what, this is exactly how it feels. So yeah, there's an energy there, but sometimes you
Exactly.
just can't describe that shit, you know?
I was just I can't like think of the words to
Yeah, man.
describe that kind of like that you feel from it. It's just, and like you were saying with music, it's it is, they go hand in hand. Uh, when
Yeah, man. I mean,
and it doesn't matter really what you're doing. If you're singing, playing it in the drums, right? Who knows? Whatever the hell you're doing, but if the crowd is into it, you're into it. You know, like that's the way I think of it.
yeah, man. Absolutely.
And it's
Uh,
also the same way, vice versa. If you're not into it, the crowd's not going to be into it. So you got to kind of middle ground, I think. You know.
yeah, absolutely. Because then, like you said, you know, when you come out the curtain, I usually always assumed that Johnny Chill was a face or a hero, a baby face, but as a little bit of time have gone by, you've you've thrown in being a villain or a heel. Um, why play both kind of characters? Like you were saying earlier, you go from one promotion or territory to another, what have you, and you have to play a different character, and it's messing with Johnny. It's not messing with Johnny Chill the character, but you're utilizing each one and trying to adapt. That's got to be hard as hell. Why would you want to be heel and face in different places?
Well, I ideally, uh, I would like to be, want to stay one character. It's just unrealistic when you have 5 or 6 different promotions for, it doesn't. And there's all obviously like oddball promotions that all work off shows for. Then it's whatever the promoter wants that night. It doesn't. You don't always get to choose, especially in indie wrestling. So you do what the boss wants you to do. And I have no problem with that. I like playing both characters. I like being able to see what sticks.
Yeah.
It's helping me, honestly. So
Awesome. Hey, that's fantastic. You're kind of gaining your own experience by just, let's see, like you were saying, let's see what works. The crowd didn't really react exactly the way I was expecting. We'll scratch that one. We'll try a little something different down the road until it kind of pops in my mind.
right, it's all trial and error.
Yeah, definitely, man. Um, do you find traveling as much as you have in a short amount of time, does that wear on your mental focus in wrestling, or does that keep it running? Because it's got to be hard on the road sometimes, because I'm very curious. I mean, I take some drives, but not like you guys. You guys are driving all the f over the place.
Well, yeah, it's some things can get to you, like just the sheer boredom of being in the car for 4 hours and just to get to a show and then just to get home. It kind of that's that's what kind of gets you. It's like just the oh, what else could I watch? But once you get to the show, I feel like all of that kind of disappears, and then you're just like laser focused on wrestling, and it becomes this huge thing, and I think that's what really keeps a lot of guys going. It's just
Yeah.
the grind isn't always fun, but the end result is what's it's what we do it for. The crowd.
Yeah, man, that's well put, because we always hear like say WWE puts out this stuff and they have a lot of road stories or whatever, or there's a lot of stories to be told, but there's also those lull times where it's not always you know, a lot of laughs and a lot going on, and sometimes you
Right.
just gotta roll with it, you know.
Right. It's
Uh,
not always fun on the road. It's
right.
you have fun times on the road, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of downtime because
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I want to kind of get back to ECPW because you guys do TV tapings over there. Now,
that's right.
when you do a TV taping, do you feel it's a little bit different? You get these weird butterflies that might not be the same if there was no TV taping, or how do you attack that?
Um, no, I don't really get any kind of like different feeling towards it anymore. Maybe it's because my first match was on the TV tapings, and it was like I got used to the kind of routine and everything. For me, at
Hmm.
least, I don't really see any difference between a TV match and a house show match, other than time. On a house show, they're a lot more relaxed with what you
Right.
do. For a TV taping, timing is more strict, and that's understandable. And I don't think there's one that I prefer over the other. House show matches and TV matches are it's basically the same, except TV is a little bit more structured. But house show matches are more fun. TV is a little bit more business time.
Yeah, I could definitely, I could understand that because, like, you know, when you're recording, and the
Right.
promotion is looking for good product in the final product. So you're like, there's an A game, and then there's almost like an A plus game that you got to play at times to really. It's almost like that extra gear sometimes, you know. Now, we've talked a lot about Johnny Chill. I want to see, I want to get from Johnny Zuko as a wrestling fan. I want to
All
know,
right.
um, are you still watching the product nowadays? Because not everybody does. Some just drop right off. There's a plethora, obviously, of indie wrestling, and now there's, you know, a lot of mainstream, if you will. The New Japan, the WWE
Right.
Impact, and such. Are you a fan of the product, or do you're not good with it?
Well, um, I love watching wrestling. I still do. I don't think I'll ever get completely sick of it, but I feel like I get a little overexposed to it. If I've been like if it was a busy couple months of wrestling and I've been on the road a lot, sometimes the
Mhm.
last thing I want to do is sit and watch an episode of 3 hours of Raw. But when I have like recently, I've been watching a lot of wrestling because what else is there to do? Um, but I always, I try to at least keep up with it, at least stay in the loop of what's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of AEW I watch. It's basically the only one that I like focus on.
Okay. Well, I mean, what are you doing with your downtime? Because we are at a very odd time in the entire world right
Right,
now.
man.
I mean, I always say when I talk about Johnny Cho to anybody that's never heard of Johnny Cho, or I mention her, they say, "Who is that skinny dude on your footage?" I go, "Yo, that's Johnny Cho, man." I go, "He's actually kind of like my size, but just a tiny, tiny smidge bigger, and he's getting in the ring, doing all of this crazy shit, getting in with some pretty big dudes." Now, on the
Right.
downtime, you guys and girls that are ready and rearing because you've had wrestling ripped as the fans, just ripped right away from you.
Right.
Are you doing a bunch of workouts? Because I would love to see Johnny Chill come back out of this whole quarantine mess and look like Brian Cage or something, and just a monster. What are you doing to keep during this whole mess, man?
Well, trying to keep busy is, you could do. I've been doing like a little bit of calisthenic workouts. That's basically all I could do here, and maybe something with the kettlebells. But other than that, can't really get to a gym. But it is weird that you mentioned, what if I come out of this looking like Brian Cage? Because I've been also thinking about what would it be like if I actually put on some size and
Mhm.
maybe started taking my look a little bit more serious, moved away from the, skinny punk rocker look. Maybe could be a jacked rocker, who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, maybe out of this quarantine, maybe I'll start hitting the gym. Maybe I'll get big. Who
Well,
knows?
I mean, Brian Cage was not always Brian Cage. And I'm not saying that you need to come out looking like him, which would be perfect. I mean, you should try doing it. But what you should, if if Johnny Cho were to ever gain a little bit of stature to his vessel, man, with the way you move in the ring, dude, I think really, like you're saying, like maybe invest a little bit more into your character. And I'm just speaking from my ass as a fan,
Yeah,
though.
man.
I mean, I love me some Johnny Cho, dude. I think, man, that would be so beneficial for your character and for your career to maybe push a little more forward.
And you know what? I agree with that, man. 100%. I'm not the most athletic person, and I feel like if I took that extra step of committing to it, I feel like if I really transformed the look,
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be very beneficial. Who knows? Maybe.
Hey, you never know what the future is gonna bring for one Johnny Chill.
Right.
Johnny Chill, I cannot thank you enough, and I do mean thank you enough for spending the time during such a wacky time and letting the fans in on who Johnny Chill is and giving us some roads. Oh, there's one question that I wanted to ask you before I let you go. I have to know.
Fire away.
Being not only on the road with Dirtbag Dan, but you've been in the ring not once, not twice, probably like a ton of times with Dirtbag Dan. How many
That's
times
right.
have you gotten the chemical warfare? I gotta know.
The amount of times that my face has been in Dirtbag Dan's arm. All right, rough estimate. I think 12. And he doesn't do it in every match, but yeah, I think 12 times, something like that.
That is fantastic, and what an ending!
What an
This
ending.
was a skirt
Thank you very much.
with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Johnny Chill.
Thank you for having me, Kincaid. Have a great night, man.